What I'm more scared about is the companies that are building the best tech. I'm not sure they're gonna be as gracious as Google and wanna give away the business. When you type in, I need a plumber, they'll take your money. When someone types in, I'm looking to buy a new home in Bristol, I'm not so sold that Chat GPT is gonna send you to a real estate agent. I think they're gonna send you to their real estate agent.
Yeah, Google started free. Chat GPT started with money. You gotta sign up, you gotta pay right from the beginning.
And that's because the tech was so expensive in the processing, but we all know this. All tech starts off expensive and gets cheaper. I think we're going into a very dangerous era of big tech where they're gonna be like, fuck the nickels that come along with advertising. We're gonna take the whole funnel. So for the people that are most advanced here, there is ways to do SEO on ChatGPT, and good news. This is why I'm yelling at you for social media. ChatGPT and whoever else wins, whether they win or somebody else, whoever the Google is or the Facebook is of the AI era, I have good news for you. They're gonna be very happy to take your money. I'm more worried that we have to build brand, because when I don't wanna be at the mercy of people like this going to ChatGPT and say, hey, ChatGPT, I've got an entrepreneurial question. Let me ask you this. I want them to be like, hey, ChatGPT, what would GaryVee think about this? I'm out here trying to build brand.
Got it.
Got it? Brand. Hey, Alexa, send me a pizza. No. Hey, Alexa, send me a Pizza Hut. Send me Domino's. Everybody in here is looking to build brand, because if you do not build brand, you will become a commodity.
I've built the biggest business coaching company in the world, 1,000 offices, 84 countries, $2.5 billion in sales. I still don't want to be famous. My company should be a lot more famous than it is. The people we help, the way we help them.
I'm the most private public person on earth. I don't share my life. I'm exactly like you. I have no interest in people being in my life. My family is sacred. My personal life is sacred. I put out content about business. That's number one. Number two, you still don't even have to do that. You can make your business famous. To your point, you still don't even have to become the face or famous, but you need your business to do a much better job in being a brand and build a brand. Nobody knows who Johnny Coca-Cola is. Coca-Cola markets. You don't know the IBM CEO or founder. Yeah. You know IBM, right? You don't know, Salesforce. Mark Benioff is pretty known. Way more people know Salesforce than know Mark. So you just need to make the business market data. Your business needs to put out 20 to 30 pieces of content a day throughout social. You don't have to. And you can do occasional stuff. The clip from this can be clipped and used. Oh, yeah. And so I think there's ways to do it. Do you see?
I think from a logical standpoint, I can get all that, but being a little more esoteric at heart, I know that there's a way that if I don't want to do it, it doesn't matter how much content I put out. If in my heart I don't want that to boom, it's not going to boom.
Brother, I don't like anything. I hate working out and eating well. I hate it. But I do it because it's right.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about your feelings, brother. I care about your business. You don't have to do it. You have to hire someone to do it.
All right. You've all heard the advice.
Makes sense, right?
Oh, it makes a lot of sense. And
I don't know if
it's also a bit of the Australian in me. Like I watch, other guys, I won't name them, but I'm not the guy that stands up there going, look at me in my freaking jet. Dude, if you're that rich, you shouldn't be showing photos in your private jet.
By the way, I'm that rich and there's 0 photos of me in a private jet. I'm with you. I'm not a douchebag either. But
some of them are. It kills me.
At the highest levels.
If I do any of that, all my Australian buddies call me up. What was that shit you just
Why on earth would you do that?
I don't know. Some days I read GaryVee books and it tells me to just keep putting out content.
Yes, it does. You're exactly right. But it doesn't say put out douchebag content. Again, if you're really looking at how I do it, I do none of that.
Yeah.
I don't even have a piece of jewelry on. I think the shirt's like $9. Like, that's, to your point, some people sell the lifestyle, other people live it. I'm a confusion to a lot of people. Thank you. I'm a confusion to a lot of people. When people come and visit me at VaynerMedia and see 2,000 employees, Half the people that just raise their hands think I'm a motivational speaker. I run businesses. You do as well. I admire that. I think that's the content you put out. By the way, just so you know, unlike a lot of other people, to your point, all the advice I just gave for the last 45 minutes, I do that. Everything I just talked to you about, just so you know, in a world of many speakers that talk about shit they don't do, everything I just told you about, one-on-one time with employees, at scale, content every day, at scale. I'm gonna show you something, bro. This is my WhatsApp. This is where my team and I make the content. That is me writing the copy to the content that I put out. This is me with my team. I wrote the copy. I'm still writing the copy on my social media posts. I'm in the fucking trenches. I'm in the dirt. I'm in the dirt more than most of you.
Get to do the bits, though, that you love still. You don't have to do the bits you don't love as much anymore.
This is what I'm trying to tell you. This is why I'm doing this little shtick. You don't have to do the content on social. I don't do the contracts in my company.
Yeah.
I've signed 45,000 contracts probably in the last 5 years. I've read none of them. I'm being dead fucking serious. But I have Mark Yudkin, who's my brother, not my actual brother, but he's been with me now for 20 years. That's it. Fucking figure it out.
Huh? But I am certain someone's going to play that clip back to me every fucking year for the next, like, forever.
You know, I'll tell you why I'm passionate about it. I love you for it. I love that you don't want to do what I also don't think is good, which is you're tricking kids and thinking Lambos and watches. That's not what this is about. Why I admire so much about the people in this room is a lot of them are not doing it for the Lambo and the private jet. They're doing it because this is who we are. We're fucking business people. We're entrepreneurs.
So, charging more, charging what you're worth, being the top of the tree, not trying to be the competing on price people. Thoughts?
Always. Until the market says, go fuck yourself. Right? Like the concept of not constantly trying to get more money for what you do is crazy. Why wouldn't you? Because the market is the market. When you're like, I mean, this is how speaking worked. The first time I did a speaking gig, 15 years ago, I get this email. They're like, would you like to give a speech? I'm like, that sounds cool. It was like, I was running a wine store at the time, but I was starting the internet thing, right? They're like, do you want to come and give a talk? So I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yes, I'm in. They're like, it's in Florida and whatever. I just was like excited to get asked to speak. He then replies, he's like, how much do you charge? I'm like, fuck, you can charge for this shit?
My first ever gig, Robert Kiyosaki took me to Hawaii. I was a 20-year-old kid, and he goes, what's your speaking fee? I said, what's yours? He said, this much. I said, same as mine.
Mine was pretty funny. So now I get the email from this guy. It's like 2006. He's like, what's your fee? Now I'm like sitting there looking at this email. I'm, remember, this was pre, laptops and cell phones, like big monitor. I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, okay, because I'm no dope. Back to the answer I'm giving to everyone here. I'm like, I got to come up with the biggest fucking number I could ever imagine to give a speech. And I reply, I'm like, $5,000. The guy replies in 2 seconds to that email. He's like, done. I'm like, fuck. And the way I got to my price was I kept going. And then the market told me, you're not that guy yet, Gary. Right? When I got to that 25K number, at that point in my career, they were like, that's it. Because every time I said 30, 35, 40, it was no, we're going to go in a different direction. And I was like, respect. The one thing I love about this conversation is this is a humbling, fun process. Don't be insecure about this. Don't be scared to ask, but when they tell you no, don't be offended by it. Just keep asking for more. The market will tell you what you're worth. Where people get this screwed up, brother, is they're like, I know my worth.
Oh, yeah.
I'm worth more. I'm like, no, you're not. Nobody's paying you. But you need to ask for more as often as possible, and don't stop. The other mistake people make is they get excited about what I just said. They get motivated. whatever they're charging, the next time they charge more, the first person says no, and they go right back.
All right.
You need 10 no's, 7 no's before you've really figured out your price. The first time someone said no to me at 30K, I'm like, psst, you know, because then another no, then another no. And then I had to look myself in the mirror one day and be like, okay, you're a 25K speaker now. And obviously that's evolved.
Well, yeah, I know how much it's evolved. Quite well, in fact.
Thank you, sir. But this goes back to why I want you to build more brand. I want you to be in a place where you can fill out 10 times this many people without needing, you know, to use keynote speakers. Like brand is brand is brand. And it doesn't have to be you.
Well, how would I do it?
Well, the more content.
Just put out more content.
That's right. Because then you're going to have
And
more.
better.
That's right. And more people are going to be your fans. And then this becomes double the size because they're there to see you, which gives you more leverage to not have to get a tops. Like it's the game.
Yeah.
It's the game.
How do you see resilience for us as business people?
Like oxygen. The greatest thing about entrepreneurship and owning your business is you have no choice. Every single person here is actually delivering on a level of resilience that is not found in society because if they weren't, they'd be out of business and they wouldn't be here. It is my great admiration that I have for all of you because all of you know what I know. And I've known it since I was 20 years old. The buck stops with you. If you aren't resilient, if you're not adaptable, this is what I'm talking about. The entire talk I just gave is strictly about adaptability. I know that they're about to feel pressure for the optionality of their employees, so I'm trying to get them to care about their employees a little bit more because that's going to create more retention. I know that the biggest way to grow their business by a country mile with no money is social media creative. But when it comes to resilience, that's my great admiration of this room. That's all they know. Otherwise, they go out of business.
Actually, speaking of, so we've been in business coaching now for 31 years. Your thoughts on coaching, having a coach?
I'm a huge fan of that concept. I think it all depends. Like, for example, in business, I never had a coach because it was my God-given gift and I learned more by losing. So to me, my brain does not process how to be great at business from a coach because I need to taste it. I need the L's. But many, far more successful business people than me, 100% attribute their success from coaching. I need it everywhere else in my life, whether it's therapy, whether it's personal training, so I'm incredibly bullish of someone looking from the outside in. By the way, I would benefit from business coaching financially. I just like scraping my knee and banging my elbow in business so much that I keep it away, but it is not lost on me. There are many things in my own game that and I could see it. You know, you all know this, right? You could see the flaws in everybody in your family, but you can't see your flaw. You know what mom and dad and your siblings and your spouse suck at, but you can't see yours. If I had a coach, for example, let me be very vulnerable, my kryptonite, which is crazy. Some people are going to laugh right now. My kryptonite in business has been candor. GaryVee on stage is very good at candor. Gary Vaynerchuk, the human being, is so into the stuff I told you about employees. I get into family vibes with my employees. Like, you know those lover boys that like fall in love at first sight? That like, I'm like that in business. You like work for me for like a week. I'm like, we're this, I can't help it. I'm just very team, very family. But what that created was the more I liked you, the harder it was for me to tell you the truth about what I thought you were as an employee, which led to me working around it. I would always be very like giving on the way out. I would have to get years of resentment before I finally had the courage to fire you. And then I gave you a huge severance and you haven't done shit for 2 years. And now I'm giving you a huge severance. And the worst part of all, you're then mad at me because I never told you. And I surprised you because on Thursday, I'm like, Brad, you're fucking the best, best weekend. And then Monday, I'm like, hey, Monday, come in and come, like, and you're the fucking best. Literally Thursday, you're the fucking best. I fucking love you. Hey, by the way, Monday, come in. You come in Monday, I'm like, Brad, we're gonna have to let you go. What?
Yeah.
And so candor was my kryptonite. And it took me 20 years. And I would tell you as I sit here today, in a world where I'm a 10 out of 10 and a 9 out of 10 and so many things in business, on a good day, I'm still a 5 and a 6 out of a very important trait of a leader, and I work on it every day. If I had a coach, I think that would have been addressed much earlier.
Yeah. Fun thing, the Jets.
The New York
that,
Jets.
Not that fun lately.
No, very fun. How many people here are proper football fans that are diehards of their team? Raise your hand. What about of any sport? Who here is a diehard fan of a sport? Raise your hands. So here's the weird thing about me, and this is why I'm such a good entrepreneur. I love my New York Jets, my American football team, so much. They have not won a championship since January 12th, 1969. They fucking suck. But I like that part. See,
Oh, the scrape the knees and the New York Jets. It makes sense.
got it? I grew up a New York Yankees fan.
Yeah.
When they won my first championship with them in 1996, I never watched another game.
Really?
Really. I actually make fun of all the fans of very successful teams. I feel like you get your self-esteem from their victories, but you're not doing shit. I love the pain. I love the grind. I love the hardship. I love when people make fun of me about the Jets. I love that shit.
I'd love you to help us out with our foundation at some point, because we educate kids for free to leave school and be an entrepreneur. Because, yeah. That's,
You'll email me.
Yeah.
In fact, I might have mentioned it earlier. Actually, I don't think I brought this up, if I may for a second.
Yeah.
The thing I'm actually working on right now in my career is the thing I'm most excited about that I've ever done. I've started something called VeeFriends, VEE Friends, VeeFriends.com, especially if you have somebody under 10 in your life, you should go look at it. It is my Pokemon. It is my Disney. It is my Marvel. And it's 250 characters, patient panda, accountable ant, competitive clown. And it is strictly built to help along with the parenting that is so challenging in today's world.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is targeting the kids that should not go to university and should be entrepreneurs. There's plenty of kids that should go to school.
Yeah.
They're built like that. But we got into this place in the last 40 years that everyone should go to university and college, which is insanity. And in America, it's a real problem.
Oh, it's so bad.
Because at least in most parts of the rest of the world, the government pays for it. In America, these kids are going into massive debt to get a piece of cake.
My eldest daughter, $350,000 to go to college. My ROI on that?
Negative 350. Of course. 100%. It's a joke for half of the people.
But I put it to work with my great friends. You guys all know the Irwin family, Australia Zoo, Steve Irwin, Crocodile Hunter. She goes and works with Terry and Bindi and Robert. She's getting the best lessons in life working for real entrepreneurs, real planet savers. She's working with them. Robert, she's a photographer. Robert's taken her under his wing, teaching her photography. That's better to me.
And that's why I'm smiling, because the creative set should never go to university. It's not built for that. It's built to make workers.